Welcome to Season 8 of Paper Talk,
where we will explore how to build a creative community that fuels your art and your business.
Hi, I'm Quynh of Pink & Posy.
I'm Jessie Chu of Crafted to Bloom.
And I'm Sarah Kim of Handmade by Sarah Kim.
This season is all about connections.
We'll share stories, strategies, and collaborations that strengthen your own community.
Tune in every other Thursday for new episodes.
Thanks for joining us today, and be sure to follow Paper Talk Podcast. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Paper Talk. We're so happy you're here listening to another episode of Paper Talk. This week, we're going to talk about another different way how to market yourself. And we want to talk about artist talk. And this is a conversation that Sarah, Jessie, and myself have been having on what is an artist talk and why would you want to do this? Jessie, I feel like you started the conversation. Can you give us what is an artist talk?
So an artist talk it's an opportunity where you literally talk about your art, what you do, your process, your why of why you do it, share your story of how you got into using the medium or the field. And you do this either in person, live, or you can do it online. Generally, it is a live session, because the purpose of an artist talk is to engage an audience that may have questions about what you're doing and who are generally super interested in what you do in the first place. So artist talks often take place at your maybe local art center, maybe even a community center or library as well. I've done ones at 2 galleries, and they often do this when there's an exhibit, sort of as an add-on to encourage people to attend the exhibit and encourage people who might be interested in exploring or getting to know new artists to come and understand their process. And then with the advent of COVID, now online artist talks are very common as well. And the wonderful thing about that is that you can reach people from around the world. But essentially, that's what it is. An artist talk is generally about an hour, and it's really just a great way to introduce people to what you do. So that's why it's great at marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to be doing one in October with a library over in Iowa, and it happens to be around their theme of Asian heritage and also immigration. And so I'm one of the Vietnamese artists that's going to be talking about my particular past, how I arrived in the United States, why my parents left Vietnam, and also how did I become the artist I am today? And it also reflects back to my Asian culture and also my parents on moving. It's a very traumatic situation when you have to leave a country because of a war and then come to another country and learn a new language, and seeing my parents struggle from that. So I'm really excited to talk about that experience and to kind of talk to the other artists about this too.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to exercise your public speaking skills. And I know as introverts or as artists, some of us perhaps don't have a background of speaking in person and having to do it in front of so many people. But I think the more you practice and the more you talk about your art, the more naturally it comes so that it doesn't feel uncomfortable. Some of the talks I've done PowerPoint presentations, which is great actually, because then you can slap so many photos of your work on the screen without actually bringing it. But the great thing about in-person ones too is that you can bring your art in. And because our art is 3-dimensional, it's just a different, completely different experience from, even a canvas. People can often will come in, they'll walk around it. They want to touch it. They have so many, there's so many questions about what papers we use and how we do what we do. So every time I do one, it's really amazing. It reminds me actually of how much we're in a bubble, what we know, and that a lot of people have no idea that our art exists. It's incredible what type of, how educating it can be. Usually with these artist talks, I go there to educate the people who are interested in art about what we do. The more we educate them about what we do, the more they understand our process, the types of paper and the lengths that we have to go to get our paper or dye our paper or color our paper, the time it takes, the labor, how labor intensive it is, and the skills involved. The more they understand that process, and it's not coming from a 15-second reel, but it's actually seeing it in person and hearing the artist talk, the more they understand why we might price in a certain way. So why do we price, our flowers so they're not just $10, right? Because it takes, me taking out my paper costs $10. But no, I don't blame them if they don't understand to begin with, because it's not a traditional art form. They don't get educated in school. A lot of them have never tried it. I mean, at the very least, in school, you've tried painting, right? And you realize how difficult it is and how much skills involved. But most people don't have the opportunity to make flowers or use crepe paper, right?
They always think our crepe paper are the party streamers, the really weak one. And that is not the paper that we use.
Exactly.
There's been so much research creating these crepe papers in Italy and Germany, and it's more than you just think. It takes years and years on finding the right color chemical to make sure that it's child safe. Because if you look at both the Italian and the German, which I'm really proud to say, they're environmentally safe and sustainable, which is so amazing that our craft is sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's amazing. And we love supporting companies that sustainability in mind, right?
Yes.
You're going to be working with them with your hands. You want to make sure they're safe. You don't want to find out later in life that, oh, actually, the thing that I'm touching every single day caused my cancer. It's carcinogenic. But I mean, that's the stuff that people don't know about at all. To educate them about where we buy the paper, how we have to source it, how high quality it is, I think it makes a significant difference in how they perceive our work and therefore how they would appreciate it, which translates into a certain perceived value of our work. And the higher the perceived value, the more, if you charge higher, they will understand and agree with you. But if they don't have that education, it's so easy to like assume, especially with videos nowadays where people literally like put a flower together in 10 seconds. They assume that it doesn't take very long. It doesn't take a lot of skills. I can just follow a template. I can follow XYZ and then make one and then that's it. So I think there's a lot to be said in talking about your art, whether it is in an artist talk where it's very formal or it's just online where you're talking about it with people, making sure people understand the depth of effort and labor that goes into it. And then also being transparent about our pricing as well and not be ashamed about it. You know, a lot of times we shy away from telling people how much something is because maybe ourselves, we're not sure. But even if you can't say it out loud, have it on your website, you know, so that when you tell people during your artist talk, like, hey, look up my stuff. Here's my website. They can go there and actually see how much you're charging for your stuff. That in itself, I think, is a process of education, right? Educating them that, oh, that's what it costs for a commission or whatnot.
Exactly. And even if you don't know the exact price, always state starting at $50. Because you know what that does? It tells you you cannot price it lower than $50.
Yes.
That is your bar. And then you can always go up. That way, the expectations are already set with your customer that whatever I order, it's going to start at $50.
Yeah.
And that will be your saving grace when you're like, oh my God, how much should I charge for this? Because I know as artists or even beginner artists, you are finding your rhythm. You are trying to find your style. And at that point, you're trying to, how much does this cost? And the research over the past decade, as you are progressing on your art and over time, you're going to find that rhythm. You're going to find that art supply that you love. And I have to admit, art supplies are increasing in costs. Make sure you factor that in as you're pricing things out and not pricing things that you bought your supplies 10 years ago because it's probably old and you need to refresh it. And you'll be shocked at how much everything costs. And you have to know that inflation does increase. And you have to keep that in mind as you navigate your journey on trying to find your place and where you actually are with the other artists. Because not only the artist talk gives a chance for your audience to understand where you're coming from, but also in the stage of your journey and what you're exploring right now. And as an artist, you should always be testing and trying new things and looking at other people's art because that will change the type of art that you're going to be making. And also trying to figure out where your style is. And it will change over time, which is how you're going to be able to educate your audience and your people that love your art. It's like, oh, she's moving this way. This is the reason why. And does that motivate you to like continue on? Does it make you want to navigate in a different direction? Because maybe your audience is like, oh, I really love my artist. I want to go where they want to go. But also you want to stay true where you are too. So giving this opportunity to be able to talk about your art, that's why you're doing it because you want to hear yourself say it too. And that will change because everything's in your head and you're like, okay, and you're talking to yourself. But once you vocalize it, that's the game changer on how you can perceive it and how other people can perceive your art.
Yeah.
Sarah, have you done an artist talk before?
I don't think so. I was going to ask, could one of you guys do like a brief version of it and educate our audience in what we do, I guess.
You can literally share anything you want in an artist talk. And you'll be surprised at how curious people are. It's a wonderful opportunity to actually reflect. I would say reflect on your art. So sometimes the artist talk is very specific. For example, perhaps it to help promote or goes with an exhibit that you are in. So it could be a group exhibit, it could be your own series, it could be a solo exhibit. And so you have a series of work, and the artist talk is more specifically about that collection. So why did you do it? What is your why? What are your influences? And then you can go into specific pieces and talk about either your process or, the story behind it. But if, let's say, an artist talk that you're invited to, they just want to know more about your art. And that happens a lot if you are teaching at an art institute. They like to promote their artist instructors. And so they do allow for opportunities like that, in which case, then you might want to focus more on the things that you actually teach. Right. So on the one hand, you want to find strike a balance between your art that you make and then also explain, well, why do you teach as well? So literally, what is your why? And we talked about this a lot in Paper to Profits, about how important it is to define your why in a really concise way, because people are really curious. You'd be surprised how curious people are about the backstory. So if you only tell people about how you do things and what this is, it's not the full story. And so for when I've mainly done artist talks where, actually, no, I've done ones where I'm not teaching and ones that I am. And I find that main difference is that the ones I'm teaching, I do explain the why about why I want to have those connections with people in a teaching environment, because it is very different from why am I making this art? So you do kind of have to go through both. But generally, you'll have an hour's time of literally starting from the beginning. Like Quynh was saying, explaining what are your origins? What made you want to become an artist? What were your influences? Why this time in your life are you doing this type of art? There might be pieces in your studio that you feel are defining moments. And those are really important because, like Quynh was saying, it kind of shows people your progress, right? From this to this to this, those are important milestones in your life. So you want to talk about those. And it could be not just work, but it could be a huge exhibit you were in or a huge commission that you're really proud of or a collaboration, something along those lines. And then sharing your story about specific pieces of art. I find those draw people in a lot, especially if you're talking about something you're working on right now. A lot of people who attend these artist talks are artists themselves and probably not doing what you do. So they probably are painters, ceramists, something along the lines that where you can imagine there may be some overlap in interests or overlap in mediums. And it's really, at that point, really interesting when you talk to them about what you do and how you do it. And then there's sort of something in common that you can start a dialogue about. Often it's about medium, or often it's, how do you express a certain thing? But it doesn't have to be complicated. And at the end of the talk, generally is a Q&A, and you'll be amazed at how curious people are about you. It's hard to talk about yourself sometimes. We're not used to it, right? We're not really used to it. But I find that people are authentically curious, and you don't need to be shy about why you do certain things at all. But the most important thing, obviously, at the very end is to let people know how they can contact you, right? Because ultimately, the purpose of an artist talk is not only to educate the people who are attending the artist talk, but also for you to market yourself, for you to share with them, look, if you want to learn more and if you love my work or you want to have a further conversation, here's how to reach me. And here's my, that would be my website, my social media, my email. Bring your brochures, bring your postcards, bring your business cards, bring a QR code, whatever it is, some way for them to contact you. And I have been at one particular artist talk that was connected to my teaching. And there I was allowed to even ask them if they want to sign up for my newsletter so that we could stay in touch. And so it's I generally love artist talks because the people who are there are your tribe. They're your type of people. They're the people who love hearing and talking about art, who love and are curious about your work. And they're also the people who generally will appreciate what you do. So you've already got a good group of people who are really warm, really warm to you. Because you've got that personal connection with them after the talk too. And if you're personal enough, people feel, like they know you after an hour. And so it's a really, really good way to connect with people locally. So collectors, perhaps, who like to support either emerging artists or mid-career artists. I think most of us are. So yeah, I think as much as we are online all the time and we're able to connect with people across the world, there's nothing like connecting with people in person locally and people who can support you either in your local city or somewhere nearby.
Yeah, even if you have to hop over to the next neighboring town, because in Seattle, we have a lot of local artist towns where if you go to Bainbridge Island, it's known as the Art Island. And there's a lot of like exhibits, a lot of places that you can come in, learn how to make all different types of art, from metal smithing to candle making to paper flowers to all these amazing things. We also have another island called Woodby Island that's also very art forward too. And so you just need to find these little towns or niches that will support you and just be able to go there, because when you're there, everyone there is already expecting to learn and know art.
Yeah.
And it's such a wonderful environment. And it's so inspiring to be able to connect with these people that speak your language.
Yeah.
It's really hard when you go to like Microsoft. These are all geeks. I'm talking about my husband, and they just don't understand art the way that we communicate with art. And so when you can find people that love art the way we do, it really creates these opportunities and doors that you will never expect. And it will just make you be better at what you do, which is really, really wonderful. And if you want to have longevity in this paper flower room, this is what you need to do. You need to talk about your art. You need to educate your community about how you process your art, from how you research to how you communicate with other people, how you teach it, how you buy all your different supplies. Those are the things that people want to learn from you, which is so wonderful, because when you have these conversations, I get personally excited. I'm like, my idea starts going. It's like, I have to try this. I have to do this. And so I have to share something. Jessie, you sparked something in me a long time ago when we did the Awesome Blossom, where you actually used the pipe cleaners. And I brought a whole bunch because we had to use it for that. And I was thinking, there must be more ways to use this pipe cleaner for other different things. And one thing that I just started doing was I'm doing the Colorette Dahlia, which is not in my book, but I wanted to do something that's really simple for the students that are coming in. And I was like, that center always gets to me. It's like, how do I make it look individual, puffy, but not dense? Because when you fringe something and you're not laminating it, you're not going to be able to get that piece. So I thought, what if I fringe it and I fold it, I fringe it, you open it up, and now you have these little segments. And then what I ended up doing was I took the pipe cleaner, a yellow one, I inserted where I had fringed it, and then I glued it back up. And so it created this puffiness. And I actually did not fringe it again with the pipe cleaner because there's a metal in there. I didn't want to ruin my scissors, but that fuzziness of that pipe cleaner created the stamen part, which I thought was perfect. And so that was like, I want to thank you very much. That sparked that idea. And I wouldn't have done that if I didn't talk to Jessie and see her work. And that is why you want to talk to other artists, because they might be doing something that will spark that idea in your head. Or like, I can use that for my own craft. And I know a lot of our listeners are sewers, and using that minoring technique, that's from sewing. You bring it in. You talk about watercoloring and about washes. That brings it into crepe paper. I mean, think of the possibility, even if you go into the hardware store, thinking about how you can use PVC pipes to make your flower stands. If you go to the aquarium, the water tubes, how can you thicken your stems? Those are the ideas when you talk to other people and go to different environments. That is how you get to be excited about your craft again, because you can bring new ideas in. Don't stay stagnant and go out. And I do have a tip. I learned this one. I heard this somewhere and I'm going to try it, is once a month, you should go to a completely different environment. You should not be in your studio. You should not be in your house. If you go to the coffee shop a lot to work, don't even go there. You want to go into a new environment, because your brain gets stagnant and they get stuck on the same environment. Because if you're in the same environment, you're going to start thinking the same thing you do. This person says, go with just a pen and paper. You need to do a brain dump of all the things you're doing, and you need to deep dive. You need to give yourself an hour to say, focus on this. How can you make this better? And just start jotting ideas, scribbling. You don't even have to write where it's legible. You just need to get all these thoughts out of your head onto paper. So when you look at it, you're like, oh, I had so much more to think and to say about this thing. And that's where that energy, that spark will get to you and make you excited again.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
That is tough. I would have to say, going to someone else's artist talk is really inspiring, like you said, because you're learning about someone else's process, about what they do and what they don't and why they do it. And upon self-reflection, I think it does spark a change in perspective, I suppose, of yourself or your work. Just by hearing someone else talk enthusiastically about their own work. And it could be completely different, like what you do. But just that energy, I would say, like you were saying, like a different environment. that energy is different. The colors are different. Like it puts you in a different zone. Likewise, when you meet other people who do different things and they talk about their work and you converse about it, or maybe you don't converse, but you just listen, that energy that comes from what they're telling you also sort of goes into your own, I don't know, creative flow in some ways, right? And kind of changes the perspective of your own work, whether it's sparking curiosity or just understanding yourself better. I don't think there's ever any loss in learning about something new, right?
Very true.
Yeah.
Never a loss. You
No.
can only gain from it.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to talk about pricing. So at these artist talks, generally you get remunerated in some way. It could be an honorarium, or it could literally be like a flat fee that they normally just pay all their artists. And you will have to decide whether or not that's worth it for you in terms of what they pay you. There is a big range, and it has a lot to do with what organization or what, location or venue you are doing your artist talk and for what reason. I've literally been either paid for just that hour or been paid for the hour plus prep time, because a lot of times you will have to prep for it, right? Like you're going to have to at the very least, write down your notes about what you're going to say and pack stuff that you want to bring to the artist talk. I mean, in terms of pricing, it's going to be a range. But I do think a lot of the times that it's, if you think of it as more of a marketing event for yourself, where more people are going to learn and know about you and your art, the less the money's going to matter too much. I don't suggest you do free for artist talks, because your time is still worth something. Right? But it might be on the lower end, it might not be $500 or something like that, but something that you feel is worth your time and effort and ultimately your intention of spreading the word of what you do. It is something you would include in your CV if you have an artist CV. Artist talks do demonstrate your commitment to your art form and your willingness to participate in it on an ongoing basis. So that is also another reason why, if you are trying to pursue like a gallery route or, as a quote unquote professional artist, you would want to do artist talks. And they're so easy. Like, honestly, they are so easy. Once you've done one, like you can do the rest of that, like on the back of your hand, because you've done it before. But there are always like Quynh, you were saying, especially with these little towns that hold maybe yearly or every or semi-annually, these like special events, you can approach them to ask them like whether or not they're interested in having you do an artist talk. Some of them actually have calls, like they ask people to apply to do artist talks, because they're always looking for content. These art organizations are always looking for content, and sometimes they can't do all the work of outreach. Sometimes they will actually, have an ad go out. And so if you're interested in particular art associations or something like that, look up their website, follow them, keep them on your radar. And it doesn't hurt to ask. And it doesn't hurt to follow them and, see if they are looking for artists to do artist talks.
And if you want to start, call out to your friends and says, I would love to do an artist talk. Who wants to hear it? And you'll be surprised about your friends.
Yes.
They want to know. And it's a safe environment because they love you already and they're curious. Start with them and then be able to build up your portfolio and your presentation more. That way you can present it to the art organizations.
Oh, which actually brings up something else. I know this photographer actually, who actually does, during her launch of her prints, she will do a special event. And that special event is literally her artist talk about the collection. And you'll be surprised at how many people actually come to the artist talk just to learn about her techniques and what she does, and also how effective it is at selling her art. But that's an artist talk, right? Anytime you're talking about your art.
Is that free for her?
It's free for her. She does it herself. She does it online.
Oh,
so she does
online.
It online,
okay.
And it's part of her launch week. Maybe on a Wednesday or something, where it's like, hey, I invite you an hour. I'm going to talk about my new collection. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. I'm going to answer all these questions. A lot of her collectors come and watch it and ask questions and engage with her. Like, this is the only time that you'll have to engage with the artist you love, right?
I love that.
And then afterwards, she continues on her launch week, but that human touch often closes the sale. I don't want to be too markety about it, but essentially that's what it is. It's that human connection that you have. And also the people want to know about your work. They really do. It adds meaning to the work that they get in the mail from you. It adds a lot more layered understanding about it. So if they have the opportunity to attend, and it's free as part of her marketing for her launch, then a lot of people will try to make it. So that's another way to do an artist talk, is even if you don't have a lunch, do it to your followers, as you said, like friends, family, your followers. You never know who might show up, and you might find that you make friends too.
Do the artist talk. Do it small, do it big, do it, because that will only make you more confident about your work, and you can start sharing your work and people can understand why you're doing what you're doing. And an extra benefit is you get to hear yourself say the why of why you're doing it.
Yes.
And that is so important, that confirmation, that affirmation of saying, this is why I'm doing it and this is why I'm sharing it.
Yeah. I think we all need that affirmation sometimes, right?
Yeah.
We're not used to saying those things. And the more you say it, the easier it is to say it and becomes second nature, your elevator pitch. Yeah.
I say that a lot. I now say I'm an artist. And it took me a long, long time to declare that statement and to actually believe it. I would say the first few times I would say I'm an artist, but I didn't really believe that.
Yeah.
I said it just to say it. But over time, I was like, yeah, I am an artist. Dang it. So yes, do it.
It does. It's hard, especially if you're used to saying something else as well. You know, to actually say something different. Yeah, it's tough. Those affirmations, they do work.
All right, you guys, if you're doing an artist talk, let us know. Maybe we'll attend and hear your artist talk with us.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Now to my favorite part of our episode. All right, you guys, what have you purchased recently that was under $20 that have made your life a little bit better? Jessie, how about you?
I recently downloaded Notability because I was looking for a way to write my notes. So, I mean, we all grew up in the age where we wrote notes, like actually on a side of paper, right? And I still did that until very recently. But I always find that I use my notebook for like a million things. And then I run out of pages when I don't want to run out of pages.
Yes.
Because I've written on the page already for something else. So anyways, I ended up looking into apps that can help me organize some of my note takings. And I use Notes. I do. I still love Apple Notes. It's a great way to take more, I guess, in-depth notes to some extent. And the search function is amazing. But I wanted a way to slow down and think deeper. It's so easy to type. It's so easy to type out things, but I often feel like I'm not thinking really deep. Like it's a great way to like take notes, like quick ideas, but I don't like think deep into it. So I looked into an app and Notability popped up. And so it's an app that literally like you can take handwritten notes or you can type out notes. You can put templates in the back so that you organize your writing as opposed to it just being a blank page, which was great. And then they also have like a written diary that you can use too so instead of buying a diary, a calendar, you can download one and then use that. So I'm kind of iffy on the calendar thing, but the notes has been great. So using my Apple Pencil on my iPad to write the notes, I find that I'm more like I'm slowing down my thinking. I'm thinking deeper about things. And I can also sort out my notes so that they go on forever and I don't need to worry about leaving, a couple pages in between so that I can move on to a new thing. And that I find has been really helpful, but we'll see. Like I'm working on a project right now where I'm like, okay, let's use this to see how well it is in organizing my thoughts. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, handwriting, I don't know. There's something about the act of writing something on something else that you literally have to slow down when you write it and think it through before you put it down. Something about that makes my thoughts stick, I guess, a little bit better. So yeah, I think it was like $14.99 for a year or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was like really inexpensive. And I think, I don't know, all the kids use it nowadays. Kids? Students? Students use it all the day. So there's ways to make it look pretty. I don't really, care about that. But yeah, so far so good. So yeah. What about you, Quynh?
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay. I randomly picked this up at Costco and I love snacks at Costco, but they're way too big. But oh my gosh, I love corn nuts. And one of the corn nuts that they have right now at Costco is the jalapeno one. It's not spicy. It has a tiny bit of heat, but it's savory and it gives that satisfying crunch. And it's not that big. So I usually pack it into a smaller Ziploc snackable thing and I just carry it with my purse and it's just a great crunch. And I just love it. It's so satisfying and the flavor is really good. I just love that there's a little bit jalapeno flavor without the heat. And it's so good. It's like, what am I eating? This is so good. I need to stop.
You up.
Right? Yes. It's great. Especially if you're doing long drives, which I have been doing lately. It's just great to have that crunch. So I'm like, oh, it wakes me up because it's crunch.
Yeah.
It's just a satisfying crunch. That's what it is. And the bag is so cheap. It's definitely, it's a giant bag for under, I think it's $8.99. super cheap, but it lasts me like with my husband and I. It does last a long time, but it's so good. I've shared it with people. I put it on my cheese board and people are like, what is this? And it's just so delicious. Everyone's like, where'd you get this? I was like, go get it now before they sell out.
They don't have it anymore.
I know. I told both of my sisters, I'm like, okay, we'll look for it. And I was like, oh, they don't have it in Texas yet. It's like, I think it might be only the West Coast.
Yeah, we've had it for a while at our Costco. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so good.
Wait, what is it called?
It's really big though.
It is really big.
Yeah.
It's just, what is it called?
I don't know.
It's a green bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's literally corn nuts, jalapeno. Just look for it.
I'll look for it. Don't know if I've seen it in our Costco's.
Yeah, it's really good. Highly recommend.
Okay. I will keep my eye out on it the next time I'm at Costco.
It literally makes me happy when I'm like, oh yeah, corn nuts. All right, Sarah, what's your favorite buy right now?
I feel like since you mentioned food related, I guess I could hop on the whole, maybe it's not really a snack. One of my favorite purchases in general is in Trader Joe's. There's a bag of veggies chopped up and it's called the cruciferous mix. And basically they have cabbage, they have, I don't know what other stuff they have in there. Maybe like Brussels sprouts. I don't know. It's a bunch of veggies just chopped up for you. And we just like to make it with eggs. It's like an easy way to get veggies in your food. Mm-hmm. And so we do that for our son, and our son probably doesn't love veggies, but then when it's inside the eggs and he can't tell and it's like chopped up nicely. So we definitely love that recently we've been just grabbing the bag and we'll eat it with rice. It tastes better when it's cooked though. So you have to like cook it into your food. So
is it frozen?
No, it's just in those it's kind of like a salad mix, but it doesn't have dressing. So it's just like tossed veggies.
Yeah. That means it's so convenient.
Yeah.
In a pinch. It's like an easy access to like get veggies in.
Yeah. And like various types, right?
Yeah. And my husband always he gives me a hard time when I don't want to chop the veggies and buy the bag of veggies because he's like, that's more expensive. I could just chop it for you. So then one time he bought like just a head of cabbage. And then I was like, okay, you promise you're going to cut it for me. And then it just rotted in our fridge. So I was like, there you go. That's why I'm going to buy the bag of veggies that are chopped. Yes.
Life is so busy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Thank you so much, everybody, for hopping on and listening to us. And I hope you guys will do an artist talk because I feel like it's going to be such an important thing. Just do it with your friends and family if you haven't done one before, because I bet they're curious about your process. And do it with your spouse. Sometime my husband's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, let me tell you. And then I don't know if there's a glaze over his eyes, but at least I got it out there.
I offered.
Yes, and he offered. Yes, take it. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye guys.